But this backup plan I never had in my mind, because what I consider, once you have a backup plan in your mind, you cannot
Yeah,
focus on your goal actually. The same model which I was doing offline for 18 months,
yeah.
same model I replicated on an application. Once you be in the problem, you can solve it more rigorously, what I have seen. See, this is a harsh reality that 90% of the students studying in engineering college waste their time.
क्या आप भी अपनी क्लास की लास्ट बेंच पे बैठ के ये डिस्कस करते हो कि आप कौन सा स्टार्टअप या कौन सा प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करने वाले हो? वेल, इस वीडियो में मैंने बात करी है ऋषभ अग्रवाल से, जो कि एक इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट हैं, एंड ही लॉन्च हिज ओन स्टार्टअप जस्ट राइट आफ्टर कॉलेज. उन्होंने सिर्फ एक सिंपल प्रॉब्लम को पकड़ा एंड उसको सॉल्व करके अपने बिजनेस को 9 करोड़ का बना दिया है. तो इस वीडियो में हम सारी बातें करेंगे. हाउ ही गॉट द आइडिया, उन्होंने अपनी टीम कैसे बनाई, उन्होंने इनिशियली इसका पायलट कैसे रन करा, एंड मोर इम्पॉर्टेंटली हाउ ही स्केल्ड हिज बिजनेस टू 9 करोड़. तो बिफोर वी बिगिन, मेक श्योर टू लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब एंड लेट्स रोल इन 3, 2, 1. What sort of events happened in your life that inclined you towards starting your own startup?
Okay, so as I told, in second year I was doing internships. That was multiple internships. So I did 43 internships to be precise in second year, all work from home, like in marketing, business development, sales, operations, content, data, everything. So around 37 to 35 companies were there. But again, there was one thing which I observed, rather two things. On the intern side, I was facing a lot of problem in getting the replies, certificates, and stipends from the companies on time. So that was very discouraging for me and other fellow interns who were working along with me. Secondly, on the company side, it was a long process involved in terms of hiring people, managing them, giving the work, then allotting them the task, and then paying them in line. So it is a hectic process and a complete involvement of a particular resource from a company. So that's why I figured out that why not make a simplified process for them. I just talked to all the people, whosoever I got in touch in the last 1 year. I made a group of 200 or 300 students across India, whosoever available in whatever city. From there, I just went to companies like top 10 companies where I had a good reputation in terms of working with them. I told them ultimate goal is to get your work done. So why not give the work to me? I will try to get it done by my set of people or network what I have. So that's where this particular problem or the statement started. 1 year and 1.5 year I did this via WhatsApp and Google Sheets, etc. That's where I landed up into startup.
So, did this idea itself come to you, or were you looking for any ideas and you thought that, okay, this one problem I can solve efficiently?
I didn't know what is startup actually. So I didn't consider when I started it's a startup. So if I give you an instance, I belong to a city, tier 3 city actually. So when I went to Chennai, like I was doing graduation from Chennai. So when I went there, the very first thing which amazed me is like people are dialing something on their mobile and cab was coming. I thought that what is this? So that's where I got acquainted that such kind of application does exist. In 2015, definitely they have not penetrated that much into tier 3 cities. In 2020, they have penetrated now, Ola, Ubers, and whatever we have today. So that's where I understand this is one thing. But after that, I came to know that there are like people known as multiple founders. Like there are some of unicorns there, 10 to 15 unicorns were there during that time. So that's where I got bit knowledge about startup ecosystem. But then too, when I started, I didn't know this is a startup. I was just doing it for the sake of like you can say as to earn money or to say like because I saw that this can be solved and I figured out the process of doing it.
And how did you sort of get your initial team members, and how did you initially launch your own startup?
So initial team member, see when you have people working along with you, when people trust you in terms of working, etc. So from that network you find good people out there. But when it comes to product building, so since as I told, I was from engineering background. I am from engineering background actually. So so that I had a good flatmates actually who were good developers. So I told them obviously to build the product, explain them, and obviously we had a time entire last semester of our college. So we utilized that because none of us are sitting at the placement. So we utilize that. I utilize in order to make the product. They utilize it to make money. So that's where things ended up in a good way. And then I launched the application in June 2019 when the first startup was launched.
You mentioned that you skipped placements and you started up straight after college. So do you feel that somehow if you would not have been successful, then it would somehow have impacted you, and you skipped the placements and you skipped the safe option of getting a job?
I had 13 PPOs actually, so that option were already there. So I knew that internships helped me a lot, not as an individual, but
Hmm.
again to polish my skills, to get myself understand that I can do other things well rather doing studying science and doing engineering.
Yeah.
That I figured out. And the third thing is actually that ended up giving me LORs, PPOs, certificates, all those things, etc. So even after 2019, actually, when the graduation ended, I could have gone to any of these companies. In the worst case scenario, what I believe,
Hmm.
anyone would have given me job. What I have thought. So this was one thing. But this backup plan I never had in my mind because what I consider once you have a backup plan in your mind, you cannot
Yeah.
focus on your goal actually. So it's always better that focus on the goal, leave aside what are the backup plans. You need to understand if this is not happening, nothing is happening.
So in hindsight now, would you say that people in college right now who want to build something of their own should just go ahead and build it and not think of what happens if they fail?
So there are a couple of ways which I say. First is obviously to know about the market or the sector what they want to build in across. That is first. Second, before building, work with people actually. So there are like
Hmm.
ample number of opportunities available in terms of working with companies, working with startups, working as a part-time member, freelancer, etc. Try putting your hands on. Don't focus just that you need to earn money from day one. If you work
Hmm.
with them, you will understand the organization structure, you will understand how they operate, how much, how they run their organization, what are the structure, everything. So that will teach you a lot actually, which you can implement anywhere, anytime in your life. It won't be that you need to implement it right away. So that is one part which I have understood. Second, if I talk about is like if they are launching it straight away, then definitely extensive research is required. And also then again, if being a college student, if they are launching straight away, they might lack the connects actually in the industry. They might have the college connect or alumni connect, but again, industry connect will be lacking. So always I prefer if a student is starting up, I prefer them even if you are doing a startup, work along with some of the companies, etc. Wherever you find opportunities, keep working with them.
So should they work in any opportunity, or which ones are related to their own startup and their own field?
Yeah, again, it depends. For me, actually, I never started working because I wanted to do a startup. But
Hmm.
for people who are already doing a startup, it can happen in two ways. Either they can work in their field, but if they want to work as a generic way, that they want to know that how the startup operates,
Yeah.
then they can work definitely anywhere.
Also, why did you choose to stay bootstrapped with your own startup?
So obviously, when you fail to raise money, then you want to want to stay bootstrapped. So 2019 actually, August to September, I tried raising. I made a
Hmm,
pathetic pitch
okay.
deck. I show that pitch deck to everyone now, to all the people where I invest or the people whom I mentor that never make a pitch deck like this. So that I have made a ballpark, but I have seen more worst pitch deck than that. So that's not a concern now. But yeah, I just keep my pitch deck as a ballpark now. So over there, I made a worst pitch deck. I didn't know how to pitch. I didn't know how, the terms, etc. No one was there to guide along. So that was a failure for me. But then I realized that 2 years I was doing same thing in a same process manner. I did 70, 80 lakh rupees of revenue also. So what's harm in continuing it? After
Yeah.
6 months, Corona happened. We went back home. We scaled a lot in that COVID time. Again in like May, sorry, not May, June, around May, June 2021, we went raising again. So in 2 months, we got the commitment, entire commitment. And the terms it was about to sign. But again, I just had a back of my mind that there were multiple questions from multiple investors actually. I thought that I've been doing all things by own. I have been came this a pretty decent far. Let's be try continuing like this. The
Hmm.
after a certain moment of time, if I feel that I need money, then it will be better for me to raise. We can remain booster, we can earn less money, we can be booster, we can be profitable, but ultimately it is suiting me as a founder. So that was my personal decision in order to stay that because I have been doing that for the longer run. Then I thought that I became comfortable to it actually, what I would say.
Now, also as an angel investor, what do you feel that is the difference between a bootstrap startup and a funded startup from the point of view of a startup founder?
So there are a couple of ways actually. See, not all companies can earn revenue and be profitable from day one or the first year. There are like few sectors need to have good money actually. They need to raise. So it's nothing that all sectors will start having revenue from day one. So then if I talk about if a SaaS companies there, they need to build it across. Obviously, a SaaS company can also be bootstrapped. We have seen so many examples in the market. But again, SaaS, fintech, all these sectors need to have money in order to build across. But when it comes to D2C, they can bootstrap initially and by doing some of the other way. So there is a couple of companies where I invested, they were profitable, they were bootstrapped, and now they are raising. So that's where the things got changed because they want to scale it. Again, for example, if I want to scale in 2024, I might go and raise for Pixel. Scenarios can change,
Right.
decisions can change. It depends upon the founder. But again, I mostly see how the founder is actually. How mostly depends upon how well the founder can manage the money more than a company because in the end of the day, they are the people who we are betting on.
Right. And most of my audience is going to college right now, studying engineering. What do you feel for them if they want to start up? They don't have any ideas, but they just want to, get that experience of starting up, building something of their own. So, what do you feel is an easier path to get into that world and sort of see for themselves firsthand if it's right for them or not?
See, this is a harsh reality that 90% of the students studying in engineering college waste their time actually. They don't know why they are there actually, first thing. Second, even if they are there, they are not making it count. If they're
Hmm.
not liking it, actually they're not trying to do something else. They just think that I need to complete engineering, I can go for
Yeah.
this multiple mass placements and I will be settling in my life. That's how the 90% of the engineers think. If you need to start, if you're not liking it actually, you need to start working on something else which you like it. You need to try something different, and this can be only be done after you put yourself in something else. If you start roaming around after 5 p.m. when the classes get over, it won't give you anything for the entire day. So you need to understand, you need to figure out what you have to do, be it like in the same engineering domain itself, be it other domains, etc. That's where you will be figuring out by end of third year that this is the best place for me. You cannot start figuring out when you end up in third year and in fourth year the placement is getting started. You start thinking that I am not liking engineering. That's how it doesn't work actually, because people start crying during that time. So this is the reality which I have seen, which I am currently seeing also. So we need to understand that if you're not liking it, you need to try something else which excites you the most, and that will definitely end up in, like, if you want to do a startup, it might find you a good idea, it might give you learnings, all over things are there.
Do you feel that starting up or being an entrepreneur can be taught in some way? Like, is there some steps which can be replicated irrespective of the field or what type of product you are building? Or it's very variable?
Got it. So what happens actually, like, it cannot be taught, but it can be guided. So like you
Hmm.
can be guided or you can be learned by other people actually, but no one can sit you and teach you that how to do sales, etc. You need to go and do it. No one can tell you that how to manage a team. You can see videos, you can listen to anyone's podcast, just like me I am telling here, or someone else podcast, like how to manage the team, but ultimately it's all about how you are doing it actually. So once you learn, that will be the process of how you do it. So obviously it cannot be taught, but it can be, you can say that you can be guided along. People can guide you, and you need to implement yourself, and that can be implemented all across.
So, when you launched Pixel, before launching, did you have an idea of where you will monetize, how you will monetize your product? Or you just started and eventually you figure out, okay, this is some place where you can make money?
No, we already had revenue model first, then we had a product. Because as I told, the same model which I was doing offline for 18 months,
Yeah.
same model I replicated on an application. Because I used to give work on WhatsApp one by one and maintain it on Google Sheets. Rather than doing that, I put the task on the application. People will do that, it will be tracked over there. So it's a same business model. Business model is never changed. In 6 years, like right from 2017 till now, I am doing the same thing, but it only got changed in terms of product. So even now actually, by I believe by quarter two or quarter three of 2023 we'll launch the second version, because this was 4 years we were running only the first version itself. So second version will be launching over there. We will be again same business model, some things will be changed. So that's where the business model is always same, because I believed in this business model. We all had a revenue stream first, then we build the product.
It's very interesting that whichever startup founder I talk to, they tell me that they started their journey very simple on WhatsApp, getting on calls and just solving the particular problem. When they made some money, then they thought ki chalo, हाँ, this is something right. I can sort of launch it into a website or an app and I can, make bigger money from this and reach more people. So what I've understood is ki starting up is easy. You just need to solve a problem. But when we talk more about startups, then it becomes difficult and people feel okay. Startup मतलब difficult होगा, fundraising and team management and ये सब. But it's very simple at the core of it.
So what happens actually when it happens, when we start up, like definitely initial days we need to figure out that what you are trying to do, then it becomes more easier for you. Either you be in the problem, or you face a problem, or you see the problem. There are like a couple of scenarios which happens. For me, I was in the problem. For people, they see the problem in the market that someone has gone to purchase medicines and they're not finding that medicine. So I'm observing that and I launch a medicine delivery application. It's a simplest example. So there are two ways actually. Once you be in the problem, you can solve it more rigorously. What I have seen, I've talked to so many people. Once you face the problem, it connects you more rather than seeing the problem actually. So that's where I believe that being in the problem and solving it is more fruitful in the longer run rather than seeing it.
When you started your services through WhatsApp and then after that you pivoted towards your own product of Pixel. So what changes you had to take in order to reach more number of people and in order to sort of scale your business?
Okay, so when we launched, before launching, we had a 2,000 to 3,000 students or like users on our WhatsApp group. So initially for 3 months, I shifted them on our application. Around 1,200, 1,500 users signed up. So they were the first initial users who were testing the application and giving us feedback. So 2 to 3 months it got in this process. But now again, I need to figure out that how to get new users. For the first year, entire 1 year, we had only 10,000 users. We implemented referrals. We told these existing users to refer other friends, etc. So that's what the one thing, and we kept on doing some of the promotions, like tying up with different colleges, etc. So that was the first part actually was being done. But after that, when Corona came, people got recognized us, and it got boomed during that time, and we got a lot of attraction in terms of getting more and more users. Yes, again, I became more. If you talk about restless, that I was seeing that for 1 year it is only 10,000 downloads. It obviously we didn't have money to spend and in order to do paid marketing or any kind of things in order to get downloads, etc., or the users. So that's why I need to keep patience. But again, I became restless. But again, it was fruitful when it got scaled up in that division.
And also, like, what was your growth in terms of numbers, like month on month? If you could just share a rough idea of how was your growth looking like in your initial days.
So, if I talk about as of now, our year-on-year is very up and down because it cannot be constant
Mhm.
for us because our user growth also is very up and down. First year, as I told, it was 10,000. Then again, in the second year, we got another 3 lakh users. In the third year, that was 2021, 2022, we got around like again 2 lakh users. And this year, again, we got around like 2 lakh users. So, this is how the journey is. So, it was not it is growing very rapidly. It's being
Mhm.
constant in terms of user growth. But again, I might feel in this year we might have less or again 2 to 2.5 lakh user, because again we have paused a bit in terms of building the product again, because I felt that it's been 4 years now. It's time to build it again actually. So I cannot keep on running the same product for years. So it's been 4 years. I need to launch the second version. So that's where we are working around. So it might drop a bit again, but the business won't stop. Existing users are there, we are there, and obviously people are there.
Right. So, when you launch a startup, do you think about making money for yourself and your team, or you think about solving the problem first and then eventually the money and everything will follow?
See, you need to solve the problem first, because For us, the business is dependent upon the dependency, because it's the user who is working for us, it's the gig workers, the part-time
Right.
workers. So we need to satisfy them in terms of meeting the goals. If I give you a small thing, like when I started in third year, I didn't know that how to make agreements and contracts with the company. And the first project itself, that was 40,000 rupees, and that company didn't pay me. But again, that was the time when I started. So
Yeah.
if I wouldn't pay those people, the group couldn't have been grown from 200 to 2,000, and neither from the 2,000 to 7.5 lakh user now, because that was the initial thing. So I paid them from my pocket, because I thought that if I'm doing something, I should not break the trust of the people. So that is first thing. So over till now, till the time we want that, personally I want actually that we pay the people on time, we they are happy with us, and definitely in the end of the day, whatever is left is ours.
Interesting. And you have bootstrapped your business to what now? 8 CR?
Yeah, it's like around 9 cr we will closing it in FY23.
That's great. 9 CR, right? So when you look back, when you took that decision of starting up and launching your own product and services, and to now, do you feel that you have come a long way and you have learned a lot throughout the journey, or that it's still a long way to go and still lots of things to cover?
Yeah, I wouldn't say is like I learned a lot or I came a long way. But one thing is there, like I have understand the markets or understand the different trends, or have learned from different people actually. So obviously till now it's long way to go, and it won't stop. But the learning is immense if I talk about, because working with so many companies, working with people, talking to people, now investing in companies, mentoring them, and like consulting so many companies. That's where I've learned different things. Till now, when I work with some newer companies, that will be, give me a newer learning. So that's where the learning shall always be there. That is one thing which I always think about, that whatever today, if I have money or I don't have money, that is very different. But learning is there. I can
Mm,
always implement this learning into multiple things whenever I do after years actually. So that one thing is gonna stay for me.
awesome. Finally, Rishabh, could you just share your experience with my audience as to college going folks who want to start up and build something of their own?
So I always say in everywhere actually, don't start a startup because everyone is doing it. So this is my favorite line where I say it everywhere actually, because people see that Sanskar is doing startup, Rishabh is doing startup, so let's do it, because it's fancy to put founder or
Yeah.
CEO against your name on the LinkedIn headline. So it's very fancy nowadays. So but don't do it because it's fancy. Do it because it's impactful and rather it can help you. Most of the students, like I see that they are doing just as a college project. I run fellowship also. Over there, I have 150 student entrepreneurs. That's only for student entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
150 out of half of them are not that much. If I talk about persistent towards their startup, because they are just doing for the sake of doing it. There will be only 10% of the startups who are working over there actually seriously working.
Yeah.
I started this because there were so many students used to keep reaching out to me that how to, like, we want to talk to you, etc. It's not possible that I talk to everyone. So that's where I started the concept of fellowship. But again, I am seeing that that lack is there. That's where I'm telling this particular number stats, because I have the stats in front of me. Because they start again, that they make co-found friends as a co-founder. They end up fighting, and then the startup gets shut down.
Yeah.
It's one thing, common thing among the student entrepreneurs. So you need to understand that it's not just one startup actually. If you want to pursue it after your college, actually, you need to be reluctant to it. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the co-founders, synergies, all other things. That is very important.
Basically, you have to have passion towards it. It cannot be like a side project or a hobby for you.
Yeah, people are making it a hobby actually. Starting up, people are making it a hobby. It happened a lot actually. Till now, it is happening a lot. I would say it's okay to start up. Everyone shall do it. There's nothing harm in that. But don't make it as a project or a hobby.